Welcome to another great episode of the Stampede. I'm your host, Stephen Foster, and this is the Shady Sports Network. I know we're getting closer to our goal for subscribers, so if you haven't already, please be sure to subscribe to the channel.
Today's sponsor is Curry Garage Door. As a family-owned and operated company, we understand the importance of creating a beautiful, convenient, and secure space for your family. Let us come to your home for an on-site visit and help you choose the doors, openers, and services that are right for you. Call us and let our experienced technicians solve the problem with retrofit openers and same-day emergency repairs. Call us at 686-6176. That's 686-6176, or visit currygaragedoor.com today. Thank you to Curry Garage Door for sponsoring the Gillette Mustangs and this episode of the Stampede. Now back to the episode.
All right, well, it's playoff time, guys, and the Mustangs are hosting the Southwest Kansas Storm this Saturday, June 3rd, at the Camplex. It's going to be a 6:30 p.m. kickoff here in the Mountain Time Zone. All season long, we've talked about both defensive and offensive playmakers for the Mustangs, but tonight we're going special teams with the kicker for the Gillette Mustangs. I'm talking about Austin Neufeld. Austin, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Austin, tell everybody where you're from and where you went to school.
So I'm originally from the smack dab middle of Kansas. It's out in the middle of nowhere, kind of 45 minutes south of Fort Riley. Went up to Nebraska Wesleyan University there in Lincoln, Nebraska for college, and that's where I've been calling home for the last 5 years.
Fantastic. Tough loss last weekend to the Salina Liberty. I mean, you guys, I think we lost on the last play of the game. Now you guys are playing in the first round of the playoffs instead of watching. What do you guys got to do to put that loss behind you and get prepared for the Storm?
You know, I think we did a really good job of putting it past us within 24 hours. We came out of that, and right now we're in our practices, and our whole goal this entire season has been go 1-0. We have to go 1-0 every single day if we're going to make any kind of improvement on the field, off the field, within every practice. We can't come out and have a poor practice, or else the results aren't going to be in our favor. So what we've done is go 1-0. Since then, we have to have good practices. We have to have a good mentality every single day.
You know, I absolutely love that about the Mustangs. I hear that every week with you guys. We just got to go 1-0, 1-0. I've heard it all season long. So that's awesome. Harry Kane, he's a English soccer star. He recently announced that he would like to kick in the NFL after he retires from soccer. Is that wishful thinking on his part, or do you think an athlete like a soccer player would be able to make that transition to real football?
You know, there's been athletes in the past with the NFL and especially any of the major leagues across the seas and internationally that have been able to make that kind of transition because they're a good ball striker. So there's really two types of kickers. There's a ball striker and a power hitter. We see that in soccer too. The more accurate kickers are your strikers. Similar in football, you can have somebody that's 100% within 40 yards, especially in the outdoor range, but they can't hit anything further back than 40. And then you have dudes that can come in, drill something from 65, but they're missing their PATs, especially now in the pros, especially NFL being at 33 yards. There's wishful thinking behind it, of course, and if he has the ability to go for it, he just has to understand that there's a lot of competition out there, me included.
Yeah, for sure. Let's say you get the perfect snap, the perfect hold, everything's smooth and perfect. How far out are you making a kick?
Indoor or outdoor?
Both.
Both. So last week, let me back up. There's a huge difference for the audience when you're kicking an indoor ball and an outdoor ball. The indoor balls are typically a little bit smaller than our standard NFL ball, and they're made out of a different material. It's more of a rubberized material. We call it composite. And then the outdoor NFL, they use leather balls. PSIs are different too, so the balls are going to pop off our foot a little bit different. On the indoor game with the smaller posts, I'm typically hitting from the opposite 5-yard line. Sometimes I can push it a little further back. If you saw any of the pre-game there in Billings a few weeks ago, I was able to hit right around 5 for 5 from the opposite 5. Take it to outdoor game, I'm typically hitting between the ranges of 45 and 55. This last combine season, when I was going to some of the showcases, I was able to chart everything underneath 55 yards at 100%.
Nice. Is it more difficult to kick in arena football versus kicking traditional football?
I've had to answer that question a lot lately. There is a sense of difficulty with both. So in the sense of being able to get the ball down the field, yeah, I can do that no problem on the indoor side. It's not going to be as accurate if I hit it the same as an outdoor ball, right? Because they're leather, you can put a little bit more power into it and have a miss hit that still stays true. The indoor game, it blows everything right off the door hinges. If you have any kind of flaw in your swing or your contact, it might go push left or right, and it can be super minimal. And I'm talking about less than half an inch. You have to be extremely accurate.
That's what I'm saying. So do you think that you spending this time in arena football will help you at the next level, given the opportunity?
100%. There's a few coaches that I actually work with that are in the pro ranks that I've been sending film to and doing film studies with while they're on the off seasons. Specifically out there in California, there's a few coaches, really Texas too. They've helped me understand why I'm able to do what I can do with an indoor ball and how that might translate to an outdoor ball. Before I came into the indoor ranks or even professional ranks, given that this last fall was my last college year, I was having a lot of trouble with getting the NFL height. We call it the NFL height. Typically, you want to split the posts in two, so you have two halves. You want to make a third one up there, and that's where you want the ball. You want the ball extremely high so there's less chances of it getting blocked, and it can travel further, typically around a 45-degree angle. This indoor game has made me really work on my height, believe it or not, because that ball is so much smaller. It drops the sweet spot of the ball down by about half an inch to an inch.
Wow.
And with you having to be so specific on where you're placing your foot on that ball, you have to be perfect every time to make that field goal.
Right. As well as the snap and the hold, right?
My whole job is just to make PATs and field goals. That's why Coach Walker brought me here. So that's the only thing I've been focusing on.
I love it. All right. So this is what we call the 4-point play. It's just going to be 4 random questions to help us get to know you a little better.
Right on.
All right, here we go. All right, your favorite vacation destination?
Favorite vacation destination has to be West Palm Beach. Got a family house down there that we all kind of split time at, and I love going scuba diving, rock climbing, anything outdoorsy.
Okay. Your favorite music?
Favorite music right now has to be rap and hip hop. I kind of bounce back and forth between the two.
Okay. Superstitions, yes or no?
No.
No. Okay. UFOs are real, yes or no?
Yes.
Okay. You're not the only one that has answered yes to that question, so don't worry about it.
Hey, unidentified objects. I mean, there's a lot of those. We might not know what they are, but someone does.
You know, yeah. It's a popular phenomenon right now. All right, so that was the 4-point play. Thanks for playing along.
Of course.
What's worse for a kicker? Shanking it wide right, missed by a mile, or the dreaded doink?
I would have to say shanking it by a mile. You can come back from a doink. You can come back from a doink. When you go out there, especially in the indoor game, and I've seen it in the past with some of the games that I've watched tape on from previous years, if there's a kicker that shanks it all the way out to the sideline before it gets down to the goal line, it's hard to come back from that.
Yeah.
A doink, you can come back from that because that's all mental. Like I said earlier, it's a matter of half inch here, half inch there. So if their foot came around the ball a little bit too much, you can fix that. If you just shanked it out to the sideline, it is hard to come back from.
Gotcha. Okay, so then what's harder to master, accuracy or distance?
Distance.
Distance.
So a lot of people don't realize this. I'm speaking from a striker position. I'm naturally a striker. I can hit close in. I'm not a power guy. But it's the distance that a lot of people don't think about, because you have to involve strength training. You have to involve rotation of your hips. So kicking, it's not just your legs. It starts all the way from your fingertips, because typically you'll see a kicker coming through and his arms all the way out. It starts from the fingertips all the way down through the foot. So there's a huge pivot point that happens on the hip. And if you don't have enough rotation in your body, then it's not going to go the distance.
Gotcha. Hey, did you get any offers from, say, like the Omaha Beef or any Kansas team coming into the
Right.
league?
So let me back it up all the way to the end of my college career this last fall.
Yeah.
Coming out of there, I was dabbling around with a lot of showcases and a lot of combines. My first offer that came through my agent was actually Gillette.
Shout out to
So I
Coach
had,
Martinez, right?
yes.
All right. Shout out
Big
to Coach.
time shout out to Coach Martinez. He's an incredible agent. He's doing a lot of things right down there at pro level. But aside from that, Gillette was the first team to offer me a contract. I had some teams here and there kind of poking and prodding at me, IFL wise, CIF wise. Omaha wasn't one of those teams that ever contacted me, had any kind of interest. Granted, there could have been that contact there, just because Nebraska Wesleyan University has sent a few players in the past up and through the indoor leagues, specifically to Omaha. With us being so close, we're right around 45 minutes from the arena there in Lincoln.
Yeah.
I never got an offer from them, and honestly, I would have turned it down as soon as I got to talking with Coach Walker. Obviously, I had to kind of sit back, talk to Gabe Martinez, my agent, and kind of negotiate things, figure out where everything lied, timeline, stuff like that. But as soon as I saw what Coach Walker was putting together, I knew it would be the right step. So I came out here for training camp, and then the rest is history.
Rest is history. How you doing in Gillette there? The weather's starting to get a little bit nicer, isn't it?
It's getting a lot nicer. Back in February, there was snowbanks were pretty high. I mean, me being a 5'8" kicker, I wasn't able to see over the top of them, so I got a little scared. But being from Kansas, we only get ice, so seeing that much snow was kind of crazy. But I'm really liking Gillette. A lot of things to do outside of football to kind of keep our minds right. And
perfect. I believe I saw you through a pass in college. Have you been in coach's ear yet at all?
oh, do you have the tape?
I don't know. I will have to get with Sam, and maybe we can add that to the interview.
So very funny story about that. That happened during a JV game. I want to say it was freshman year or sophomore year. And one of the guys on our team, Arthur, he was actually on the Concordia team at the time. We were doing a scrimmage against one another, and I got a snap way over my head. It was about 5 to 10 feet right above my head. The snapper just absolutely blew it. So I run back about 15 yards, pick this thing up. By the time I turned around, already had guys caving in from everywhere, and me being a lot less than 5'8", 180, I just threw it up with a prayer. I have not gotten in his ear about that at all. I do not want to even go near that, because if he finds that tape and it gets out on the team, it's going to be a rough 24 hours. I'm going to have to deal with a lot.
I love it. In the past, you also handled kickoffs and punting responsibilities.
Yes, sir.
What's the hardest, kickoffs, punts, or field goals?
So I would have to say the field goals, just because of the pressure placed on the situation.
Sure.
Am I saying it's the toughest for me? No. I would actually say I handle field goals and PATs the best out of all three. Just because with kickoffs and punts, everything is waiting for you to start. You have to be the one to place it in certain areas, especially with kickoffs. You're trying to place it where they're not. And if you don't, the coverage team isn't really going to be able to react well to it. Same way with punts. From the technical side of things, punting, you have to get a turnover and everything. You're worried about timing with the snap coming back. It's tough. Me personally, I grew up as a kicker. Grew up around rugby, practiced a lot with a rugby ball. So there was some translation to it, but punting was pretty tough. I would say punting would be the toughest, especially being in combo, specifically kicker.
Sure. I imagine all three phases are difficult or have their, different things that make them difficult. You were coached by a legend at Nebraska Wesleyan in Ray Corona.
Yes.
How big of an influence was he on your career? And do you guys still speak?
Oh, man. Yeah, we actually text quite a bit back
Really?
and forth. He's a very genuine, down-to-earth dude. Outside of football, he was someone that I could definitely turn to, and I feel like any kicker that's gone through Nebraska Wesleyan, even the guys that come in for training camp and then leave 2 weeks later, there's just something about Coach Corona that it really just speaks to you. Coming into college, moving away from home, he was definitely more like a father figure to a lot of us. Just being able to go out, do our special teams meeting, we would go out to eat as a unit, and we would just sit there for an hour, 2 hours just talking. So Coach Corona is something else. He is definitely spilling over into a lot of these guys and making men out of them.
I love hearing coaching stories like that. Shout out to Coach Corona. Austin, is there anybody you want to give a shout out to?
Oh, man, God for putting me in this situation. Without him, obviously, I wouldn't be sitting in this chair, in this room, in this state even. He's done way more than I could even imagine.
Sounds good. Hey, Austin, best of luck to you Saturday. I know I'll be watching. Really appreciate you coming on the show tonight.
Well, I greatly appreciate the opportunity.
There you have it. Another episode is in the books. Don't forget to get your playoff tickets for this Saturday's game at the Camplex. Until next time, go Mustangs.